Oh yeah,
Yeah, the Wikiwachi Anglers. We got about 230 members.
I'm a flat earther.
Huh?
I'm a flat earther.
Oh, you don't fish?
No, I do a lot of fishing. That's
What's a
why I say
flat
I'm
earther?
a flat earther. I believe the Earth is flat and not a big old ball spinning in space.
Huh? Everybody's entitled to their own thoughts.
Well, you know,
Hey, I was over on the other side of the earth, and I didn't have to make a right-hand turn.
yeah, or they tell you that well, why do they call it sea level? Water's level, right? Water makes one of the best levels in the world.
Okay.
All right, so they call it sea level. But what happens when you get out there? And I can show people on video when a boat gets past this. See this visible water line?
Uh-huh.
There's a visible water line there. But when they get past that, the boats don't go over the curve.
Right.
They don't go
No,
over
they
it.
just keep on going.
They keep on going and they start looking like they're floating in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what that is it's because of my angular resolution. That water that's above this water turns into a mirror. It starts mirroring the sky. So you got this mirroring going on.
Oh, okay,
That
Dougie.
you ever been in a funhouse mirror?
Uh-huh.
Um, and you walk up to these concave, convex mirrors, right?
Yeah.
And it makes you shorter or smaller, or part of you
Now,
disappears.
what do you call it? Angular what?
Resolution.
Yeah, see, I'm going to use that on my wife. Say, hey, that just must be your angular resolution that makes it look that small.
Yep. But they don't call it sea level for nothing.
Oh, I know, I know.
You know, you fill up a bathtub, the water goes level. You fill up a pool, the water's level. Fill up a lake, the water's level.
Yep.
Fill up the ocean, it's level. But yes, we do have tides, and we got waves.
That's deeper than me, man.
Oh yeah, it goes deep. It goes deep. So I do videos to show this mirroring, and then I do experiments too with mirrors to show how this mirroring occurs. All right, I got a couple of bad habits. Number one, I like to show long observations. Number two is I'm always zooming in as far as I can actually zoom in. Now, these next two videos, or this one and the next one I'm going to show, are pretty much taken from the same location, same camera height. The only thing that may change is maybe the tide, but I can kind of tell that the tide's not far off from each other. Maybe a foot or so. But I also sped this up so I could make it a little bit shorter because I do like showing long videos. But one of the things that the reason why is because the proof is in the pudding. It's in the observation. If you go back and start taking like screenshots, I mean you'll start noticing this magnification, things getting magnified, which pulls things in and actually drops things down. That's one of the big things that I see in the footage. I've been going back through a lot of my footage and reviewing it, and I've been catching some really neat things. And I'm going to try to show them, especially with this magnification. People don't realize what that does. Also, the mirroring is another effect that really, really causes issues. And then you could have a combination of effects. Like for here, for instance. Now, I slowed this down 2 times. The other part was 3 times. And the reason I did this was because you can tell when the mirroring occurs, this visible hard water line that you see is not where the water is, people. I mean, it's pretty obvious when you go out and you do these observations. You do them over a long period of time. And for me, it's almost 4 years now that I've been out here doing these observations. I I did not choose to be a flat earther. I wanted to stay a glober. I wanted my space and everything to be real. Star Wars and everything. One day we'll get to the stars. We'll be flying around, and you'll have colonies on the moon, colonies on Mars, and we could be traveling at the speed of light and everything. Well, I come to my senses. It's all bullshit. It's all theoretical bullshit fed to us since we've been little kids. I mean, one of the first things that we did was we assumed that our teachers knew everything, and that they knew the truth, and that we were going to be taught the truth. Sorry, folks, what you're being taught is a belief system that if you go against, then you get mocked and ridiculed for going against the belief system that the biggest majority of the people believe in. So you're an outsider after that. You're an outcast. You know, throw you off to the side. Sorry about this up and down. Sometimes I keep my tripod too tight, and then when I do move it, it goes in. You know, well, besides that, as you see this boat, and you'll see this in some of my other footage, how when you got this heavy mirroring and lensing or looming magnification, whichever you want to call it, you know, it causes issues. It obscures your line of sight is what it does. It obscures your line of sight, and it doesn't allow you to see properly. Now, this can happen up close because that first rack that you were looking at is approximately a mile and a half at the most from Bayport. And I'm doing both of these from Bayport. This was taken on 9/3/2017, and the next part is going to was taken on 10/6/2017, almost a month apart. But what you'll see is a big difference in visibility. Also, visibility dictates your angular resolution, and your atmospheric conditions dictates your visibility. So the better visibility that you got, the farther you can see, and the better angular resolution you can get. Now, things get, you know, when you get at the end of your, you know, angular resolution limits, and things get way out there on the horizon, then you cannot really resolve some of these boats. And what I mean by that is where everything's converging at is the water and the sky. Everything starts converging. So your last visible wave, or your last resolvable wave, once this boat gets past that resolvable wave, it's the wave that starts blocking out the bottom of the boat, not the curvature of Earth. It's just a wave. And that wave starts getting distorted, the edge of it, and that distorted edge also blocks out even more of the boat. Now, again, I've been doing this for a long time, and when I see some of these boats, you know, vanish at short distances, I say, huh. And then other times I see them vanish at really long distances, like way farther than what science claims that we should be able to see. And if we see too far, something's wrong with the model. Now other people say, well, it's refraction pulling it up. It's refraction pulling it. Listen, have you seen any of these trolls or these globe people show you something actually being refracted up without using a trick? No, they can't. You can go stand and watch a guy walk over a hill, and I don't care what kind of visibility you got, you will never be able to refract him back up over that hill to where you can see him. It's just not going to happen. Even if it's a slight hill, a slight dip, they just can't pull him back up. Why? Because it's not reality. See, reality is when you can go out there and you do this yourself. And that was one of the things that I did when I first got into, or first looked into Flat Earth. I thought it was one big joke. So, you know, and I did not know anybody on YouTube. I didn't know anybody. So how could I trust these people that I didn't even know? So I said to myself, well, I'm going to get a camera, and I'm going to go out there and do my own observations. And, you know, every time I did an observation, I kept saying, huh, wow, these boats are getting farther out. I get less mirroring, and I can see further. Visibility is really good on this day. And wow, look at this. I can see 11.05 miles out to Cutter's Rock. And again, you got the trolls or these people that come on your channel to discourage other people. Now you can see when I zoom back there that the tide's not much difference. Actually, it's higher this day than it was the other day. So that my height of my camera is actually lower. And again, here I slowed this down to regular speed, but then I'll speed it back up. And those are transitions, people, where I'm slowing it down, speeding it up. I cut it or split it and then put in a transition. But the whole purpose of again, of me going out and doing these observations was to prove it to myself, because again, I didn't trust anybody, but I trust myself. And when I go out there and do these, I say, man, something's up with this model, the model of Earth, or where they say that we can see to, and then they just give you all these excuses of why you can see this far. I mean, does this look like it's being refracted up over some kind of curvature out there? No, it's literally a line of sight. And I tracked this boat for a while, and what's really neat is zooming in, zooming out. Got to do that, because otherwise people don't know really what you're doing. But sometimes when I do that, I lose some of my focus, so I have to refocus on it again, especially with the P1000. But I didn't get the P1000 until 2018. So when was that? October of 9/10. I got the P1000. I got a little note here in my notebook that I've taken down some of my best days of visibility and some of my bad days, where I get this big miraging. But I was noticing, and here's Bayport. Notice how much smaller it looks. Why is that? Because it isn't getting lensed. It isn't getting magnified. And that's what I noticed on these good days of visibility, that these racks are not getting magnified as much, so I actually see the water further back. So it's this magnification, and when you got magnification and mirroring happening at the same time, oh my goodness. Here's this other boat that I come across. Now, if you start noticing my, I slowed it down here too. My angular resolution, or how I'm resolving this, isn't as good. Now, I don't care what Steve, or not Steve, but Sean Hawkins, the Stocking Hawkins. I called him Dick because that's his real name, actually. But anyhow, he says, "Oh, you don't know how to focus a camera." Well, he don't know nothing about cameras, because if he did, he would know that when you have something that's distorted, you can't just focus in distortion. If it's distorted, it's distorted. And why is it distorted? Wow. It's pretty simple. It's the atmospheric conditions, the ether band, or whatever you want to call it. It's all kinds of things, people. And this is what causes these optical illusions of boats going over the curvature. These boats aren't going over the curvature. This is actually a big boat. This boat is probably 60, 70 feet long. And I can go down to the docks where a lot of these boats park and show you that these are big-ass boats. Yeah, they're big shrimp boats that go out. Some are smaller than others. Some are bigger than others. But this is a big shrimp boat. And you can see his riggers out. And again, there's one other thing that is occurring right here. And that's things are getting pulled down. In other words, you're not really seeing this boat. It's being displaced. This boat should be higher up, like in some of my other footage, the one footage that I showed, where you could actually see the water well up behind, well higher than the Bayport bird rack. So again, this boat is being displaced. It's being pulled down. And that's why I like doing these observations under all these different conditions, because you start noticing these small details that, you know, a lot of people that watch your videos just don't see them. And that's why, too, I wanted to just start putting out long videos showing you the whole footage. Yeah, sometimes I might not want to let you listen to the complete audio, uh, because I do say some naughty things about some of the people that are, um, you know, using vulgar language. Um, well, I shouldn't say naughty things. I should say, you know, just negative stuff. But look, you can actually still see the boat, the whole boat in the water. I mean, you can see the rear end of this boat, and then you can start seeing how these distorted waves, the water line, the distorted water line, is literally blocking out the boat. Has nothing to do with curvature, folks. Has everything to do with your angular resolution and all the different effects that occur out there on the water, and it causes boats to appear like they're going over the curve. They're not. They're simply not going over the curve. Now, I thought about going back and starting, you know, posting some of my original older videos, starting back in 2016, or late or early 2017. I forget which one of my hard drives took a dump, but I had a 2 terabyte hard drive that died. Then I have another 2 terabyte hard drive, and then I've got 3 4 terabyte hard drives. So I've got quite a few hard drives, and they are filled mostly with observational footage. And then, you know, what's discouraging is when I try to show these, you know, yeah, people say, "Hey, cool, man, you did a great job," but you know, they're not looking at the details in it. I would like more people to try to take screenshots, and knowing the fact that, you know, I'm always got this. I'm a zoom happy guy. I love going to full zoom, and again, sometimes it can be a bad habit, um, because, you know, at full zoom, I mean, you know, you can get off focus very easily, especially with that P1000. That causes some issues. Um, and like I said, I have all these hard drives just pretty much filled with, uh, you know, observational footage, stars, moons, planets, planet. Yeah, that was one thing I want to say. They call us a planet. Well, I think they planned it to be a planet. You know, you got a planet, right? Who planned it? The Vatican, right? Because the Pope says, oh, you know, we're going to accept the Copernicus model instead of the flat model that everybody knew it was flat 500 years ago. You know, they had to change it and start lying to the people and telling them that they live on a spinning ball of water that spins out in space, that we're not the center of the universe, but we are. We are the center of the universe. Everything revolves around us. We are not revolving around it. And it's obvious when you look up at Polaris, and it's been there for thousands of years, and people know it. And then they tell you you're winging through the universe at almost light speed, or through the galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, at almost light speed. Come on, folks. Start thinking critically for yourself. Stop believing the mass belief system, the popular belief system that everybody else does, and start using your brain for yourself. I mean, look at this boat. Now, come on. Tell me that went over the curve, and I'll call you a liar. Okay, I want to just say, if somebody questions my integrity as far as my observations go, you really have to look at what I've got. This is a 4 terabyte hard drive. I actually have a docking port for 2 hard drives plus the hard drive I've got in my computer itself. But let me just go through this real quick. one hard drive. That's another hard drive. I've got another 4 hard drive, 4 terabyte hard drive, and another 2 terabyte hard drive, and I'd have another 2 terabyte hard drive if it wasn't for one taking a crap on me. So I've done my observations, folks. This is almost 4 years of observations that I've been doing. I'm pretty dedicated. Actually, I'm pretty much obsessed with them. So I just wanted to make a small video showing that, I haven't been fooling around. I've got a lot of footage, and if I click on each one of those files, you'll see a whole bunch of videos that I've taken. I've spent hours and hours and hours, mornings, afternoons, evenings, down doing observations. So I've got quite a variety, and of course I've got some personal stuff on there too, but besides that, I've got thousands and thousands of hours of observations. Alright, I just wanted to take this picture. I used the cropping tool, zoomed in, cropped it, used some filters on it, the contrast, brightness, and saturation anyhow. And I just wanted to show how you can still see the rigging still sticking out of this boat. And this was right at the very end of that footage. Again, people, don't be afraid to get mocked or ridiculed. At least one thing you'll know is that you're using your own damn brain and you're able to critically think for yourself.